Hi guys, and welcome to today's video. Those of you that are new to my channel, my name is Maria, and today I'm going to be playing with a couple of new products. The first one is the foundation, and that's the Bobbi Brown Intensive Serum Foundation. That has been just reformulated. I never tried the original one. And the other is the newly released, it's a Bobbi Brown eyeshadow palette. That is the Luxe Precious Metals one. So yesterday I did try out the foundation and I had to play around with the eyeshadow palette as well. So there is a few things about the Bobbi Brown foundation, and obviously we'll start with that first. I've already got my primer on. I'm using the Milk Hydro Grip Primer. Now, yesterday when I tried this foundation, when I first put it on, it really throws yellow. And I couldn't remember if I've ever bought a Bobbi Brown foundation before. I might have a long time ago. I've got a feeling I did try one once. It might have been part of a sample, and it threw yellow then too. Now, I picked up the colour N052, and that is the shade Natural. So this is the box that it comes in. It has an SPF of 40 with a broad spectrum sunscreen in it. It has the standard 30 mils of product, and this is made in Canada. Now this serum foundation says that it will deliver quite a lot on the Bobbi Brown website. So I'm just going to look that up on my phone now. I won't go through it all, but I'll just go over the highlights of what they say it will do. So they say this is powered by serum. Our newly transformed skin energizing foundation delivers 10 times the cordyceps and stronger skincare benefits to leave skin looking smoother, plumper, and more radiant instantly and over time. It says it has powerful skincare, meets skin perfecting makeup with fuller coverage, and 12-hour non-caking, non-creasing color true wear. It says that it's 12-hour medium to full color true coverage. I'll get to that soon. It also says it has 12-hour non-caking, non-creasing, non-streaking, and non-poring. And it is supposed to be sweat, humidity, and water resistant. So I'll take it out of its box. It does come in beautiful packaging. So here it is. It's just a really beautiful glossy black. It feels like it's glass or maybe a tin. I think it might be glass though. It just has a pull-off lid and a pump. So I'm going to put a couple of pumps on the back of my hand. This is what the serum looks like. It's slightly runny, but not too runny. Sort of what I thought a serum foundation would look like. You can see from the back of my hand that it is throwing yellow. Now, when I put this on, I'm going to look like I have jaundice. And when I applied it yesterday, I was sort of quite shocked. But then I put some Chanel loose powder over the top and sort of baked it on my skin using my beauty blender. And this foundation does last really well, and it does have a beautiful look to the skin. But I'll put some on now and I'll show you what I mean. You can see how yellow it is. When I put this on yesterday, I was like, this is just awful. But I think after a few minutes sitting on your skin, and then once, like I said, I bake it in using the loose powder, it does give a really lovely finish. I was really surprised, but you can see that it looks like, and I'm looking in the monitor to here, and it just looks just really bizarre. Now this says it's medium to full coverage. I would say it gives a medium coverage. I didn't seem to be able to build it up any more than that. So that's with all the foundation on, and despite it looking very yellow, it really just gives a medium type of coverage. That's as far as I can build it. I put another layer over here and here, and it built up slightly more, but that's about as far as it goes. But that's fine. I'm happy with a medium coverage. It was just yesterday when I tried it out and I ended up looking like this. This yellow. I was just about to go and just throw the foundation out and then go and wash my face, because it really looks like I have health issues. It just looks that yellow. But then I decided, well, I'll put a little bit of concealer over top here and see how that goes. Now, all the other foundations that I have, they're all in the neutral type of range, and they do not throw yellow like this. I think it's just a thing of Bobbi Brown's that their foundations do that. But yesterday I did put on some concealer, as I was saying. I put on the Dior Forever Skin Correct. Now this is in 2.5N, and although I don't really use this under my eyes, I find it just a little bit heavy. But I do use it if I want to have extra coverage just around these areas. So this is what I did yesterday. And I thought then I'd be able to see a huge difference between this foundation and the Bobbi Brown one I had just put on. But once I blended the concealer in, there wasn't too much of a contrast. So that's when I decided to keep going and then put on some concealer and do my eyebrows and the rest of it. And then I came back and then I put the loose powder on, and I'll show you how I do that soon. So now off camera, I'm just going to put some concealer on. I'll put some eyeshadow primer on and I'll do my eyebrows, and then I'll be back to powder my face. So I'm still looking yellow. It's been about 5 minutes by the time I did my concealer and eyebrows. And also, those that haven't seen my videos before, I have really oily skin. I'm 52 years old, so I have mature skin as well. So what I'm about to do with baking on my face using the Chanel loose powder probably won't suit people that have really dry skin, but I just found that this gave a really lovely finish. So the beauty blender that I used is still damp, and then I have quite a bit of powder at the top here, and then I put quite a bit of powder on my beauty blender like that, and then I press it into my face. Now I would never ever bake under my eyes. At my age, baking under my eyes, I'd end up looking like a withered raisin. But on my face is fine because I have oily skin. So I put on quite a bit, and then I just press it in, and I'll probably just leave it for a minute or two like I did yesterday. It looks like I'm piling it on, and I am. But I'll use a fluffy brush in a couple of minutes and just wipe off all the excess. And this foundation, once I've put it on, it is a beautiful feeling foundation. It feels really moisturizing and lightweight. It does feel really lovely on the skin. I didn't find that it settled into my lines or wrinkles at all. And like I said, I did find that it wore really well during the day. It's just the colour of it. I just had to try and sort out the yellow that it threw. And by doing this and leaving this powder on for a couple of minutes, that seemed to sort it out. So I'm just going to wait a couple of minutes and then I'll be back and wipe it off with a fluffy brush. So I'm going to take the BK Beauty. This is the 102 brush. This is really soft and fluffy. And I'm just going to wipe off all that excess powder. And I did forget to say that I did put some powder under my eyes. At the moment I'm using the by Terry. It's a pressed powder, and I find that really good for under my eyes. But I still really love this Chanel loose powder when I want to set down my foundation. So here I am, still looking quite yellow. The powder, and it is a translucent powder, the Chanel one that I used, it does help tone down the yellow quite a bit. And by the time I've done the rest of my face, it actually does look okay. But this isn't a foundation that I would buy again. Unfortunately, it just throws too much yellow, but I can sort of rescue it to a degree. So I'm going to put some bronzer on now, and I'm going to use the Bobbi Brown. It's the Face and Cheek palette. This is in medium. I reviewed this quite a while ago, and I've used this quite a few times since. I really love the formula. I love the colour of the blush in this, and also the illuminating, I think they call it, is it the illuminating bronzer underneath? Yep, it's the illuminating bronzing powder, and that's in Chelsea Glow. But altogether, they're just really beautiful. So I'm going to use the bronzer now and put some of that on. It's just a really, really beautiful colour. I did find yesterday, by the time I put the rest of my makeup on, the foundation colour had settled down even more, and it didn't look too bad. It looked quite, I mean, I kept wearing it. I didn't go and wash it off. It didn't look so bad, but it always still has that sort of slight yellow tinge to it. But once I put bronzer on and you got blush on, it doesn't look so bad. And like I said, the foundation itself is actually really beautiful and feels really beautiful. It's just a shame that it throws that yellow. So now let's take a look at the eyeshadow palette. As I said, it is the Luxe Precious Metals one. I got one of the Bobbi Brown's, the Luxe Metals one, a bit earlier this year, and I really loved it. All of the shadows in this palette are foils, so it is quite a shimmery look. So here is the box that it came in. These shadows are made in Italy, and the packaging inside is really beautiful. I do love Bobbi Brown packaging. I think it is really, really gorgeous. And I have tried this, and I thought it gave a really pretty look. So inside is a generous size mirror, and here are the shadows. They look sort of like they are pastel colours, but some of them actually throw quite a strong gold and sort of bronze type colours as well. It's a really gorgeous palette, and this colour down here in particular is really, really pretty. So I'll hold that up so you can take a look at it. And this palette is said to be inspired by magic and energy of New York during the holidays. It really is quite a pretty palette. So I'm going to swatch these on my arm. I'll swatch from left to right and top to bottom. I'll do 4 shadows at once. And as I was saying, these are all foil shadows. So this one is called Top of the Rock. It has a touch of silver in it. This one is Glistening City, and that is a light pale gold. Next is Gilded Pink, and that is a really lovely soft pink. The next shade along is called Skyline Shimmer, and that is a soft bronze shade. Then we have Rose Garnet, that is a warmer pink. Then is Gunmetal, and that is a pewter sort of taupe shade. And second to last we have Downtown Heat, and this shade is sort of orangey, but it's maybe sort of like a pumpkin coloured shade. And the very last shade is Antique Bronze, and that is a true bronze, and it's sort of like a copper. And each eyeshadow has 1.3 grams of product. So I'm going to take my Rapha number 15, and I'm going to go into the colour Rose Garnet. This is that shade down here, and put that through the crease and slightly above. Then I'm going to take my Rapha number 14 brush, and I'm going to deepen up the crease a bit. So I'm going to go into the shade, it is called Antique Bronze, and just deepen up the shade. Now, even though, as I said, these are all foils, I don't find that they emphasize my texture too much, and they blend really, really easily. They just look really beautiful on. And then I'm going to use that same shade, take my Refa number 3. I'm going to put some of this shade on my lower lash line. I might pop another colour on as well, but I'll just see how this one looks first. Then I'm going to go into this shade here that is called Downtown Heat. And I'm going to use the Sonia G, it's the Worker 3. And just put that on the outer corner of my lid. And just a little bit in the crease and above it as well. And then I want to use this shade here. This is really, really beautiful. This is sort of a pewter, but also looks taupe as well. And I'm going to use my Chukahodo. This is the F06 brush. And I'm going to put that on the rest of my lid. And then I've just wiped my Refa number 3 brush on my cloth in front of me. And I'm going to go into the shade. This one is called Top of the Rock. And just put that in the very inner corner. And I'm just going to take my Chukahodo, this is the blend brush, and just blend it through just to soften things out a bit. Then I'm going to put some eyeliner on. This is a Bobbi Brown one. This is the Perfectly Defined Gel Eyeliner. It's in the shade Chocolate Truffle, but I have tried this eyeliner and I really like it. I found that it didn't transfer during the day, and it's just a really beautiful shade. So I've just put some mascara on. This is the Charlotte Tilbury. It's the Legendary Lashes Volume 2. Love this mascara, and I've already purchased a backup. It gives great volume and doesn't transfer, which I can have issues with some mascaras with my oily skin and my oily eyelids. So with all the mascara and eyeliner on, I think the colours are really, really beautiful. And the palette was inspired by the New York lights, and I can see what they mean. It's just really, really beautiful. And I think the palette is a bit deceiving. When you first open it or see pictures of it, you think it's this sort of pastel looking palette, but it's not like that at all. The colours really pack a punch, and they also blend really beautifully as well. So now I'm going to put on some blush out of this Face and Cheek palette. I'm going to use the Chukahodo. This is the F03. And the way I use this palette is, first of all, I go into the illuminating bronzer underneath. It's really beautiful. It's just a very subtle type of illumination. And I just put that all over my cheek first, and then I pop the pop of colour over the top, and it really is lovely. So it really just does give a very subtle sheen. I think it's beautiful, and that's enough, especially when I've got this foiled look on my eyelids. I only want just a tiny bit of sheen on my cheeks. So then I just go into the colour on the top, and the colour is called Tawny. And here is the final look. I think the foundation still does show yellow, especially under these lights here. So it's definitely one that I wouldn't repurchase again. Maybe I picked the wrong shade range. Instead of going for N for neutral, maybe I needed to go either the cool or the warm. But I don't think I'm going to bother trying to find it out. The translucent powder rescues it to some degree, so I'm not as yellow as what I was. And it does look better once I've got bronzer on, the blush and the eyeshadow. but really it still has that tinge there, which I really don't like. I just prefer my whole lot of other foundations that I've got. And as I said, I have them in that neutral range and they look really, really lovely. The foundation feels beautiful on. As I said, it is gorgeous formulation. There's no doubt about that. It's just that the colour and the hue is just all off. But I do love these eyeshadows. I'm really loving Bobbi Brown eyeshadows. I said a few videos back that I hadn't tried any Bobbi Brown for quite a few years, and I used to really love it, and I started buying it again this year, and their eyeshadows are just gorgeous. This is a lot more bold than what they normally put out, and I did pick up 2 other of the holiday palettes as well, and I'll try them out in future videos. And these have a mixture of mattes and shimmers in them, and one is the Cobblestone Lane eyeshadow palette, and the other one is the Golden Illusion palette. So the shades on the back of these look really, really beautiful. So I will try them out at a future date and see how they look. But these shadows, these Luxe Metals, they blend really beautifully. They are highly pigmented and they just sit really well on the eyes. I think they don't emphasize the texture on my eyelids too much. I thought they might when I saw it was an all foil type of palette, but they don't seem to do that at all. And as I said, I love this pewter sort of taupe shade. I just think it is absolutely gorgeous. So overall, I am very happy with the eyeshadow palette, not so happy with the Bobbi Brown foundation. And that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next time. Bye.